Wait, are we live right now?
Yes.
Oh, what up, guys? Can you hear us? Let's see the chat section. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
Perfect.
I get it.
All right.
I get it. You can hear us. What up? Take it away.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys, for joining. This is our second webinar. So if you joined the first one, I'm glad you were able maybe to submit questions. So we picked this topic for you guys: how to grow your Bandsintown following, basically the fastest and for free. I'm Kristin, so I'm the Director of Artist Partnerships for Bandsintown out here in LA. And
hi, my name is Hisham Dahud, also based here in Los Angeles, and I am the founder of Artist Pro, which is an educational brand offering a holistic approach to career development. We specialize in uncovering unique artist identities, building digital marketing ecosystems, hence why we're with Bandsintown today, and personal leadership, so that artists like yourselves can plan, prepare, and position yourselves for the creative lifestyles that you're looking for.
So I thought he'd be great to come in on this webinar and kind of, give some more insight and feedback on what we're about to talk about. So I'm going to go over the topics really quickly. Here we are. So we are going to cover completing my Bandsintown for Artist profile, adding events, syncing my events to my website, which is the Widget or API, giving fans a direct and easy way to follow you, how to use Bandsintown on other platforms, which includes all social media platforms, and then also how to utilize your Insights tab. So should we get started?
We should get started.
All right.
Here we go.
Okay, so this is, most of you guys know when you do log into your account, this is obviously my fake account, Bandsintown. When you're in here, this is the home screen. But the first thing, most important, is to complete your artist profile. In here, basic, your name, your genre, where you're from, also what other artists you associate yourself with, or who you think you have a similar sound to, and then your bio, and then of course, link your socials, everything from your official website, your merch. The more info you put in here, the better, just because when a fan or a tracker is using the app, they're linking their listening platforms. So, of course, you're going to be recommended to those that you have a similar sound to.
Yeah, and just from a psychology standpoint, too, I got to say, and this applies for, well, anything really, even Spotify especially. Think of yourself in, like, the point of view of a fan. Like, if I see, like, an artist that has basically a dead account, like the standard MySpace kind of profile photo, just like the empty sort of thing and no information, I'm going to assume that you've not put in the effort to contribute to this platform. So therefore, why would I follow you on this platform, frankly? So yeah, not for just overall, kind of psychology here, the more fleshed out a profile is, the more likely I'm gonna be like, okay, they're clearly active here, so maybe I should be a little more active here as well.
So that's obviously the most important. The next thing that we always tell everyone is to upload your events. So you're gonna go to your events tab, and then you can either do them, we always tell everyone, to do them manually. So you can do it by single event or bulk upload. So I'm going to show you guys this one first. If you're going to do it individually, this is how it looks like. Say you're going to upload your events, but you're scheduling them. That would be your announcement date. You would turn this on and you fill everything out here. So even though you put this in here and you hit publish, it's going to actually go to your drafts because you're scheduling it. Say then you have an on sale date. Most artists announce on a Monday or Tuesday. Tickets, of course, go on sale on a Friday. So this is where you would put that in here as well. So between the time that you announce your date and the ticket goes on sale, you actually won't have a ticket button. But you're going to have like an RSVP or a notify me button, which is great because then you're actually going to get those opt-ins from fans that want to be alerted when those tickets go on sale. So we kind of act like your personal email database where we're just capturing all that fan data for you. And then when your tickets do go on sale, you're going to send out another push and email to those fans directly. So it's very personal. There's a great call to action at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all here for you guys. Of course, you would click save. But I didn't put any information in there, so I'm actually going to go back. Say also you were doing a 30-day tour. Obviously, you don't want to enter that all like individually. So we do have a bulk upload here for you guys. And then, of course, you would go download a template, enter all the information, upload it all at once, and the same thing, you can schedule it or publish those all at once.
Nifty.
The next biggest step that you can do is add the events widget. And then I think most people ask, like, what's a widget? It's basically our plugin that's going to power your dates for you on your website. If you go in the toolbox, it's all in here. I'm not going to spend too much time on this just because, you know, everyone has a different site, a different format, but it's all in the toolbox for you guys on how to install the widget on your site. I do want to show you an example of an artist that has it up right now. So Paul Oakenfold. So this is our Bandsintown widget. And with dates up, he has RSVP buttons and ticket buttons for you.
Mm-hmm. And it also looks great on mobile.
Yes, it does format nicely. And I also want to show you guys, a lot of people ask, you know, what if I'm not on tour? Why should I still install the widget? You will show a track button. You'll also have this button, which is asked to play in your city, which is great, you know, if you're trying to still engage your fans, or even if you want to know where do my fans want to see me. Anyone that clicks on this, it's going to pull their location and it's going to go directly into your Insights tab. But I know we're going to go into that a little bit later. But here's an example. Shakira's actually has no tour dates up, but she's still utilizing the widget. She's still getting new trackers. So it adds to how can I build my trackers the fastest? Leave the widget on your website, even if you're not touring. Leave that button available to your fans. And the next thing was how to give fans a direct and easy way to follow you. So basically that's the track button, which we showed here. But like you said, you know, it's not only on your website, it's on the app. You can add this to socials. You can link out to your Bandsintown page across your socials as well. Yeah,
well, also, I mean, just to kind of piggyback on this thing, giving fans an easy way, that's the obvious thing, right? But then maybe like a meaningful reason as to why they should follow you, right? But I mean, there's the obvious things of like, well, I want to know when you come to town, obviously. But things that I've done in previous marketing campaigns with Bandsintown in conjunction with email. Because I think at the end of the day, look, we all want to make money doing this stuff, obviously, right? And touring's where it's at, especially for those who are performing live. So one thing I've done when it comes to unique fan experiences is message people in Bandsintown and in email in conjunction, because just like those who are following you in Bandsintown, they're the most likely to spend money on you because they're going to see you live. Those on your email address are also most likely to spend money on you because you're entering in permission-based marketing. Right? It's one thing for me to like you on Instagram or something like that. But when I say, all right, fans in town, the band, fans in town, here's my information, I expect to hear from you. Okay. So what I've done in the past is I'll host things like Q&A, or not Q&A, sorry, little photo meetups. Like for instance, there was a band I was working with, like a hardcore band. And in certain markets, especially in California, they're like, yo, to our Bandsintown, you know, community or to our email community, meet us at the In-N-Out at 5:30, right? Or who wants to hang out with us during sound check, right? And then we would take a photo of that and we would post that on social media, and you would, without fail, every time you'd see in the comments, like, what? I didn't know about this. How was I supposed to know about this? And then you would just see fans like, dude, Bandsintown app, or yo, dude, I saw that on the email. Like they messaged us this morning about that. So instilling some FOMO, maybe offering some unique experiences to those people specifically who are tracking you in conjunction with email marketing, and then of course having some sort of layer of social proof. In this case, this example was you know, posting on Instagram, but letting the fans like feel the FOMO, like, dude, you gotta track them on Bandsintown, you gotta track them for this. And I'm sure there's other ways you do that through messaging as well. Yeah. That's one example.
So going back to how do I build my trackers the fastest, the best way, or at least the easiest way to share your Bandsintown profile on socials is what we call our events promotions page. Well, it's your smart link. That's what it is. And you can share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, your story, swipe up. I've seen a lot of artists get really creative. You know, they'll put this link in a press release. So when they send that out, then anyone who's reading the press release can click it and then all your dates come up. There's artists who have put it in their YouTube bio, pretty much, you know, their Tumblr. It goes anywhere. But I do want to show you. So when I do copy this and put it in my browser, I actually have Echo Smiths up for you guys. So it formats really nicely. This is on desktop. Of course, if you're on your phone, it's going to look the same way, but it has all of your buttons already there. And what you're doing is you're converting your social media followers into new trackers. I would say mostly every artist has a bigger social media following than they do Bandsintown tracker. It's not a bad thing because there's a Bandsintown tracker, there's so much more behind it for that fan to download the app, to track you. They have the intention of going to a show, of buying a ticket, spending money, versus someone on Instagram is following you because they want to watch your lifestyle, or it's a fan group or a bot. You don't really know.
Question on that then. I don't know how many of you guys are probably wondering this too, but like, I think we all know where we stand as followers on Instagram, as followers on Twitter. Do you think there's a not a learning curve, but you think there's some sort of barrier where maybe me as a casual social media user may not understand my role as a tracker? Do you think the artists need to actually explain at some point, like, when you track me, you'll blank, never miss me here, you'll do this? So you think that's kind of an important step?
I think anyone who's on social media knows that you need to give the call to action. You have to tell someone why to do it, when to do it. And so I always say, put the language, in your story or on your native post, wherever you're using your Bandsintown link. Say, track me on Bandsintown to hear about upcoming events, to get the inside scoop, or, to get a pre-sale code.
Pre-sale codes are big.
So you have to tell the fan why they should track you, or they're going to think you're just, I see so many people just like, oh, follow me.
No, and if you're a regular touring artist, like playing hundreds dates, 100 plus dates a year, I mean, I think it should be at least part of your social cadence. So the artist managers or the marketing teams out there, I mean, I think it makes perfect sense to have at least like once a month, like a reminder of like, by the way, we tour regularly and we hang out with our friends who want to make sure we never miss out on anything. So we want to ensure that we're always even something extra, whatever that extra is for you. But I think the extra layer there, though, is showing people like what they're missing out on. So it could be like, you post an Instagram story of you and maybe the 10 people that night who came to soundcheck to hang out with you because they heard about it on the Bandsintown app. They got all the details there, for instance, because it is a direct messaging tool in that regard. So I think it's important to tell them why, to give them the call to action. But then I think you got to go one step further and like show the fruits of that kind of loyalty, that allegiance, that affinity through what else? Content, frankly.
Yeah. So we see artists use this, pre-sales is a good example, contesting, ticket giveaways. So for any fan, if this was my Instagram story right now and I wasn't tracking you, but I did click on any of these buttons, then it would convert me into a tracker. So you are capturing those social media fans. Say you weren't on tour, another good way to engage them. If you weren't on tour, obviously all these buttons would be gone, but you would still have the Ask to Play or City button, which I showed earlier.
Yeah.
And that's another good tool, just if you want to talk to your fans or, even get that data yourself.
Oh, even beyond, tour dates though, Kristin. I mean, I have artists, one that I work with poolside,
Yes.
Even during their low point when they weren't touring very much, we had like 19,000 trackers or something like that from like a relatively low level of touring, but you bet your ass every time we had a single come out, yo, what up guys? New single out now, by the way. Let us know what you guys think, etc. It's just one more place where people feel like, hey, the band that I like a little more, to follow them on another platform as opposed to the band I casually like just released a new track. Just one more impression. Like in marketing, it's all about repeat impressions, right? In multiple areas, constancy. So if I saw that post on Instagram, I may check it out. If I saw it again on my email, okay, probably. If I got an alert, damn, all right, fine, I'll check out this track already. Not to bug them, obviously, but it's just one extra layer of interaction with your audience to remind them that you have any kind of activity, even if it's not live touring necessarily.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to how can I engage my fans more, talk to them or message them more beyond touring. And it goes back to new single, new album, new music video. I see even new remixes, merch, of course. There's some artists who have been creative and put out, when they're doing their meet and greets or book signings, or especially during award season, some are saying, vote for me, and they put the link right there. So if you're giving your fans something different than what they're used to seeing, I think they're going to come back more. Yeah,
and again, I think it's as long as it's not done as well in like an overly promotional, annoying way. One of my favorite bands, Opeth, they're a band from Stockholm, Sweden, like a death metal band. These days, more progressive than anything. But I remember they announced tour dates. I was like, cool, dope. And then they announced like an official shirt for that tour, and it was more like, wear this shit to our show. Like, we're equipping you. Like, get ready for the show. Like, dude, I'm a super fan. I'm that guy that buys everything. Like, down, medium, hook me up. But again, like, I'm pretty sure I'm on their email list, and they're not that active on social. But I didn't see that offer on social. I only saw it on email, and I only saw it on Bandsintown at that point.
There you go. All right. Well, I have one more thing to show you guys. Let me go back here. Wherever my mouse went. So I know we've been talking about ask to play my city, track button, RSVPs. When you send all those messages, where does it go for you? Please make sure to go to your Insights tab. I think I talked to so many people, obviously it's still loading, where they don't utilize this as much as they
Data?
could.
Who needs data?
I know. Like, I always tell everyone, look at where I think as every artist looks at their Spotify numbers, look at your Bandsintown numbers. You know, compare where your listeners are located with where your ticket buying fans are. So on here, you see everything from, you know, your tracker growth, your RSVPs, your ticket clicks. But what's really great is that you can actually see where they're located. You know, and then I want to do something for you guys here. So if you were to fill it out, I'm just going to put it in for US. Let's do California. And then LA for Fanbase. Kind of see how this is, it's like a giant calculator that keeps updating the more info I put in here. So if I did want to message my Fanbase fans in the US and California and LA, I have 17 trackers that I could send a message to.
What are these suggested artists here?
Yes, so these ones are basically your affinity artists. If I did want to message fans that were theirs but not mine, and then that goes to promoter.
Yes.
Yes.
I've got a few of those messages.
Yes. So, but I always tell everyone, you know, play around with this. See where your fans are located. See where other artists' fans are. Just kind of get a sense, you know, maybe you're trying to find a market that you haven't touched yet, or maybe you're being requested in a market where you stream really well.
Yeah, man. And honestly, like when it comes, especially for the independent artists out there that are still on the ground hustling, trying to get the attention of promoters, the more data, the better. I mean, it's multi-layered. You want to showcase that there's a demand for you, and streaming is a great way to do that. Yeah. Social media is a great way to do that. But I mean, how many people who follow you on Instagram go to your shows? It's tough to say, man. But if someone's tracking you on Bandsintown, that means they have extremely high intent to buy a ticket. So that's just one more layer. If you're going to approach a promoter and say, hey, here's why I should play your venue. Here's a video by live performance. It's great. Here are some artists I'm similar to. I noticed that you've booked so-and-so down the road in June, right? Because you looked ahead at their calendar. As you can see, I have hopefully more than 17 trackers.
Oh, yes. You'll have a lot.
I have, 119 trackers in Los Angeles area alone. And I have direct access to them. Here are some early ideas for a marketing campaign. I can work with them on that. It's just one more layer to show that you're in demand. Beyond static numbers, this is a specific type of number. This is someone who's going to spend money on a concert ticket, probably almost guaranteed.
Yeah. So what I just scrolled down to is where you can show your trackers by market. On here was the map. So this is also great for you guys. If you were utilizing the Play My City button, telling fans to click to request them in their city, this is where you would see that list also. This is all very useful.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, more information on your events. If you publish them, you're going to see that here. Your ticket clicks. This would also include, like, if you had a VIP button, a ticket button, a pre-sale button. And then if you were using your events promotions page link on your socials, this is where that data would come in. But it's all on your Insights tab, and it's all free. So
that's the next question. Yeah. Is all of this free right now?
All of this is free.
What the hell?
So I would.
That's really good.
That's why I always tell everyone, like, how did you not know it was there? How come you're not using it?
Now, were you always able to message everyone as freely as this, though? Right now, like your entire audience space?
So you can message all of your trackers.
Yeah.
Use the word all, but if you were going to geo-target your trackers, that is not free. It is if you are using the plugin on your site. So it can be available to you.
Okay.
Yeah, which is an easy move. Install the widget. You don't have to be on tour, have the track button. And then you'll have access to those VIP features.
Got it. Dope.
But that's Bandsintown for artists in 20 minutes.
Sweet.
So I know I went really fast for you guys. I do want to check the questions.
Right there.
Here we go. All right. Let's see.
Scroll up here. Actually, you want to run this thing? It's your
computer. I know. Okay, let's see. have someone asking, will this webinar be available after? Yes, we're recording it. We're going to email it back to everyone who RSVP'd, and we're going to send you an amazing deck that has all the visuals.
Someone's calling me out. Anthony, probably almost guaranteed. Hey, man, I mean, yeah, I can't say they're going to buy a ticket, but like, probably. I don't know at that
Most
point.
likely. What are your best suggestions for increasing audience base and trackers? Audience base
and trackers. Well, we talked about a couple of things. Well, let's start with the trackers. We talked about the idea of, number one, they need to know about it. You need to literally put these links in front of them, and then obviously offer incentives for them to do it, and then show the benefits of that to instill FOMO. It's basically kind of that. For increasing your audience base, well, that's. Do we have 3 hours? Well, also, I think I actually pulled up some stuff here. Yeah. This is something pulled from my Artist Pro curriculum. Please get rid of that thing. For my Artist Pro curriculum. If you guys want to learn more about Artist Pro, by the way, it's theartistpro.com. But basically, here's what I'm talking about here. Making a fan, in many ways, guys, follows the same kind of sociological elements of just making a friend, frankly. And I think a lot of people make the mistake when it comes to artist marketing, that everyone assumes that they're starting here, okay? So the question was, how do I increase my audience base? Well, there are a lot of tactics to increase the audience. You guys are our audience right now. Are you our fans? No, probably not, but you're an audience to us. So I think, number one, the first important thing is to distinguish your audience and traffic versus, well, a fan and engagement. Okay, that's the first phase. That's the first step there. So number one, I think when it comes to artist marketing, you have to remember that people go through stages. When I go to a party and meet someone, I don't like and love them right away. I'm not their friend right away. I have to overcome things like mistrust, like reluctance, things like that. So first, I have to become aware of you. So maybe they're a user on a platform like a Spotify or on Instagram or something like that. They're not my fan yet, but they've become made aware of me either through someone facilitating an introduction. Yo, Kristin, you got to check out this artist. Maybe an ad that you run or something like that. You position yourself in front of them. Then they consume your content, and based on the strength of that content, whether it's the production, the performance, your lyrical theme, something, people like you a little bit more where they move on to like or love you. Some people drop off. Sometimes, and that's okay. Sometimes you're just a commodity. Sometimes you're a track on a playlist and they're added to their playlist and that's it, you go away. But sometimes people go down the rabbit hole and learn to discover you. So they begin as a stranger, become an acquaintance where they're familiar with you. In other words, a casual fan that we call here. And then they become a genuine fan. And to the degree of that depends on their connection to you. And ultimately, it moves on to them becoming a customer of yours where they now have trust. Not just trust in terms of here's my credit card information, but more so you're representing me now. Okay, I'm wearing your logo. I'm not representing you as much as I'm also representing me. If someone asks about this obscure band that may not be big yet, remember that for early adopting music artists fans, that you're a status symbol to them. Like if Kristin asked me, like, who's this? Like, well, you don't know about this artist yet because I do. And there are enough of us out there that you can use digital marketing tactics to find these people. So that's the first thing you need to really understand here is that people aren't automatically a fan of yours, but so many people communicate to an audience as though they are. One classic example is running ads purely for ROI. Oh, if I'm going to spend $60, I better have calls to action in all of my links. Well, that's bypassing the first two steps here. So to give you another example of this in action, we're going to go to this one here. Hopefully you guys can still see this. So this is one example of a funnel that showcases, guys, the difference between music discovery and artist discovery. I mean, music discovery is at an all-time high, I think, at this point. Thanks to streaming services, if you pay for Spotify especially, right? Discover Weekly, algorithmic machine learning. But artist discovery, I would argue, is an all-time low, because music has become a thing on a spreadsheet for so many people, right? So like I was mentioning, you can begin as an external user in this top section of the funnel. Of course, it's the largest part of the funnel because people drop off as they go through. But for many people, they drop off because there isn't enough content for them to consume, or the social media channels do not have enough to signal that you are for this person. Music discovery is the first step to understanding who the person is, who the artist is, and therefore, are you a representative of mine? Do I vibe and connect connect with what you're representing, and the music is just the evidence of that kind of vision, that kind of belief system here. So this will be maybe say Spotify, Instagram, etc. And then this will be someone going to your social media channels. Let's just say someone going to your Instagram for the first time, maybe the only time. And then in that 3 to 5 seconds, what are you signaling to them? Is it a shrine to you? Is it just posts of you and how great you are? Okay, for some people that could work, right?
Yeah, or I'd say that's where you also see a lot of drop off. That's your one shot.
Especially.
Yeah.
So where are you instilling the FOMO? In other words, where are they seeing, is this good content or bad content? Which is, by the way, also, if I really disagree when people say you have to post every day. Number one, that's dangerous for your own mental health, by the way. Second of all, there's no timestamps when someone goes to your Instagram, they see this is just good shit. This is just good quality content. I don't want to miss any more of this. And then based on someone's affinity for that, they enter this area here where they're a fan of yours. To what degree? We don't know, right? On social media, all fans are created equal. A like is a like, a follow is a follow, right? But on email, on Bandsintown, they show one step closer towards a genuine fan of a higher degree. If I follow you on Bandsintown, I'm probably a deeper fan than the person that just liked your track on the playlist, right? I want to see you live now. If I sign up to your email list, I'm probably someone who's a little deeper than someone who casually likes you on Instagram. And of course, the monetization, you have to sell. You have to.
Yeah.
You literally have to promote yourself and sell them things. But also, again, back to providing value and context. Super, super, super important that you guys follow this. And again, advocacy can happen at any point here, guys. I could like the music and say it's not for me, but Kristin, you like this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I could be someone who consumes your content, doesn't really become a fan of it, but can send it to my friend who also likes the style of music because we like it together, but it's not for me, but it's maybe for them. I could be a fan of yours, not spend any money on you. We're all guilty of that. I could be a fan of yours and then advocate you towards someone else, or of course, down the road here, after I've spent money on you, I will tell a friend about the experience too. So that's a general overview in terms of just the methodology here. Remembering that you guys got to cater. Remember, the external user, not a fan yet. They need to learn more about you. They still have reluctance and mistrust. The consumer, well, they don't have mistrust, but they definitely may still have reluctance. You got to cater to them for content, for social ads, for building your ecosystem. The fan here, they've overcome all that stuff now. You've won them over. How will you engage them and retain them? And of course, the customer, what will you offer them to equip them to complete the relationship? This doesn't even take into account the paid advertising strategies of today that are more effective beyond just calls to action, but positioning yourself in front of the right people at the right time. That's a long, long discussion to have. If you want to learn more about what I'm doing with Artist Pro, just go to theartistpro.com. In fact,
we are going to send it.
We'll do that. This Friday, I do a free class on pretty much the Artist Pro mentality and the mindset and the habits and productivity, all this kind of stuff. If you go to theartistpro.com/turnpro, there's a link there that you can register. It's a real-time class taught with me, no pre-recorded videos, 9:30 in the morning Pacific time. It runs for about an hour and a half or so. And it's the end of it is pure Q&A in real time. And it's the same format you guys are using right now here on Zoom. So if you want to check that out, theartistpro.com/turnpro, and we'll talk more about this.
Going to send a link, and then just think if you take that with this and of course the deck after, you'll be growing your trackers in no time.
In no time. Probably almost what did I say? Probably almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
Right, Anthony?
So I know we already went over the 30 minutes, unfortunately, and I know it was like really fast, but we do have Alexis and Cassie from our support team who are going to stay on. If you guys still want to submit your questions, they'll be answering them. We'll also be taking them down, for the next webinar, number 3. If we see a common topic, we'll do that one.
Is that it?
That's it.
Word up. Yo,
thanks,
thank you guys for taking the time out to learn more stuff in general. But thanks for joining us here.
And then be on the lookout for that email that comes out.